Welcome to Sharing Our Shine. I'm Kelly Renee, and it's been many, many months since I've been able to come back to the channel, and I'm just so glad to finally be here. I've started and stopped this particular video at least 5 times. I even brought some shine with me for the occasion of restarting the channel. So thank you for sticking with me over these many, many months, and for those of you that are new, thank you for having some faith in the channel and subscribing to the channel without any recent videos are very much appreciated. I'm gonna go ahead and take my shine away for just a minute. What have I been doing all these many months? Well, so many things, and I'll talk to you about it as I move forward with the video. I've got a stack of books here, things that I have been exploring and discovering during my hiatus. And one of those things were the cozy and cute books that has become a trend in the coloring community. I heard a lot of information about these types of books on various channels over the last many months. And I heard about TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account. I don't generally watch TikTok. But I ventured in, just to see what everyone was talking about, and I got the gist. So I went ahead and I bought myself a single book, Girl Moments, and as you can see on the very top here, I wrote the word practice copy. I'm not accustomed to coloring on Amazon paper. I know the challenges, and I've never colored in these cute and cozy, very simplified books, and I saw a lot of examples, and I wanted to give it a go. Knowing that this book, over time and during my practicing, would get trashed, I do have a brand new, pristine second copy. So I prepared for that very early on, so I'll go ahead and take that second copy away. But I'm just going to flip through and just show you some of my experimentation and discovery. I practiced a little tie-dye effect thing here, and some of the pages aren't done, but I've done quite a bit in here, just trying to discover this cute and cozy trend and seeing what it was all about and the pattern making and all of that. And I didn't know, that is from a color card that I used. As a matter of fact, it says Color Cube right here. Let me see if I can find the camera. 378, and I do believe I have that nearby. Let me see if I can grab it. I do have it nearby. So this is the color card that I used for this page, number 378, and there's the light, medium, and darks, and this is the page that I did that with. I have a few pages that I've done that with, and I have the color cards here. So I tested the idea of using the color cube for these books as well. Most of the time I did not. I just grabbed whatever and did whatever. Just trying some different things, trying some different mediums with a prep on the page like satin glazing or gesso or some other things. How would water-based markers work on this paper? What would bleed, what wouldn't bleed, that sort of thing. Oh, on this page I just put a great big X on it because it was just such a mess. So let's not even talk about that. This was the first page I actually put some acrylic marker on. I did a little bit of patterning on that hat, just practicing. Some of that I added some leaves to the tree. I did some highlighting, just trying to learn some of the techniques that are being used in these books. I did a little bit of a lighting technique here. Again, trying to understand how it's done and how I might be successful at it. Put some patterning on the wall here. Again, just something to try based on what I saw on your YouTube channels or around the TikTok universe. And when I ventured into looking at these cute and cozy books, I wasn't sure if it would be something that I would like. But I wanted to give it a go since it was trending. I did another lighting technique, again trying to understand how it worked and seeing what I could do with it. This is just an alcohol marker. Matter of fact, I think I used my Pro Markers, which is my marker of choice. I have the Ohuhus and I have some Ohuhu dupes that I'll talk about. This was not a very good, this was Ohuhu water-based markers, and this paper is just so fragile. It's really hard to use in these books. I did some distress inks on this page. I tried some blending over here. I tried a little curly technique here that didn't turn out too well. So I knew, like I said, I knew, oh, this is another Color Cube 391. Let me see. Yep, I have that. So this is the Color Cube card that I use as inspiration for the colors on this particular page. I'll move that aside. But, oh, here I did a page that was half satin glazing and half gesso just to see it side by side. I just tried a few colors and then marked them as to where the Tombow was, where the I used Tombow and the Faber-Castell Aqua Dual markers, and I wanted to see how they both kind of were affected by the different preps on the page, and my conclusion was that the gesso did the better job of the two. So again, some more experimentation. I think this is just alcohol. Yeah, that's just alcohol marker. It's not very bright. I don't know why the colors are so dull. I'm not sure what alcohol markers I used. Again, another lighting technique through a window I tried on this page. I did some patterning on the vases that were holding the flowers. I saw that some of that on TikTok and on your YouTube channels as well. So I gave that a try. And this one was just Tombows. Now, the watercolor markers, this with no prep and no nothing, the paper is just so fragile. You're limited as to what you can do with it and how well it can turn out. That's what I'm discovering. You guys probably already know that, but this is new for me. This is just, again, some alcohol markers. That tie-dye effect, I didn't see it anywhere, but I just had it in my head. And gave her a little bit, let me bring that closer to the camera, some tie-dye on her shirt with some alcohol markers. I tried the window or the glass technique, some patterning with some Langrio gel pens, which I've acquired during my hiatus. Acrylic markers I've acquired a much broader range than what I had before. Some patterning, some glass. I don't like the way that turned out, but I gave it a try. Some blending with the alcohol markers. I did some acrylics on this page as well as some gel pens. So some mixed media coloring on the Amazon paper. I did some chalk ink. I brought some chalk ink in that I have, and I did it on the background. I kind of like it. I don't like necessarily the way it turned out here, but it does well on this paper. Again, this was another Color Cube, number 143. So I used this color card for this page. It was a lot of fun using the Color Cubes with this sort of coloring style, I found. At least I enjoyed it. I didn't do every page, like I said, just a few, a handful. And I kept my own DIY swatch sheet of what I use for the different color combinations, my light, medium, dark. And then once I was finished with the page, I just taped it to the back so I could remember what I did. This is just, I believe, yeah, just alcohol marker on this one. It's fun. Yeah, I tried some things in the sky, didn't really care for it. I tried that dual tone back wall. Nah, turned out okay. I tried to get the cat some multicolors. Turned out okay. I did some plaiding. This was over clear gesso, water base, media and alcohol markers all kind of combined on this page. Again, some mixed media techniques on this one. This is a page I'm likely to finish. It was just something I was working on. I started this page a couple of weeks ago. I just haven't gotten back to it. This was just alcohol markers. I put some notes here in the margins for myself. That dog turned out pretty good. I kind of like the way the dog turned out. I'm not doing real great on the pets, but as I see different examples over the internet, I'm trying some different things. This was clear gesso. I did use some watercolor markers as opposed to water-based markers. I did some Ohuhu in here, alcohol ink in here, Tombow, Ohuhu, some gel acrylics, just a real mixed media page. And the paper held up over the clear gesso, and the medias all worked well over the clear gesso here and there. So I'm not crazy about the page, but I learned a lot. And this was water-based markers. This was over a workable fixative prep. Not so keen on how it worked on this paper. I have found a different way of doing it. The clear gesso works much better. But as you can see with the workable fixative that I have used in the past as prep, you kind of get that spray kind of effect, and I'm not crazy about it. Where I didn't have the prep, it just came out a solid color, so that was better. And I think I did Faber-Castell and Tombow markers on here. This had clear gesso on it, water-based markers, gels, acrylics. Tried some different things. Again, not crazy about how it turned out, and thankfully this is just a practice book, so I can just kind of go crazy on it and try some different things, color combinations. This was kind of fun. Color Cube 367, it says. Yeah, Color Cube 3. Oh, that's the last one I have sitting here. So this is Color Cube 367, and I use this color palette for this page. This is my inspiration. And again, I find that exercise quite fun. Let's see here. As a matter of fact, this is the last page in the book, but it was the first page I ever did in the book back in June. I'm just trying some things, and I spilled my coffee, which is now all coffee stained, and the page is all wrinkly, and I did it anyway. But I've been learning, and I have really come to enjoy these cozy cutie books, this simplified way of coloring, and so I have started collecting these square books. Some that I was inspired to get based on your channels, and some that I discovered on my own, or think I did. And so, yeah, I have a double-digit number of those books. So there'll be that type of coloring on this channel, because I've really enjoyed it. And I did some self-discovery about myself as to why I like that form of coloring. Some soul-searching, if you will. And I discovered something. It's my own conclusion about myself that I'll share with you. This book I've had about a year, I guess. And I have a lot of this style of book with a lot of the intricate details and the more complicated, more sophisticated sketching, as opposed to the cozy cutie books. And I was asking myself whether or not I would go back to these types of books, because one of the soul-searching discoveries that I found out about myself is why coloring, adult coloring, is a hobby for me at all. I had to answer that question for myself to really understand why I've done a little bit of an about face as to what I enjoy versus what I don't enjoy, right? So when you start coloring, you start with the simple pencils and the alcohol markers, and you start acquiring art supplies. You watch others, you try to emulate others, and try your hand at the hobby. and you're pursuing this hobby to get something out of it, right? And I was pursuing this hobby from an artistic, creative sort of path. This is a whip that I'm working on in this book. The answer is I will continue to color in these more detailed books, but my approach and what I'm trying to get out of the page, I think, has changed. Because I think originally for me, pursuing adult coloring was about becoming more artistic, learning the different mediums, getting the higher end pencils, the higher end alcohol markers, the higher end soft pastels like the Pan Pastels and the Rembrandts and the various different brand names, and becoming more efficient and proficient with those art supplies. And I don't know about expertise in one or the other, but getting good enough, taking my coloring to a more professional level. I think that was my initial approach. Those were the things that drove me and motivated me to continue to upgrade my supplies and to pursue watching the professionals and the semi-professionals use these products so that I could get better at them. And I think what's changed is what I'm trying to get out of coloring today is different than when I started back in 2017, 2018. And I think what that thing is for me is I'm really trying to not pursue an artistic or professional, semi-professional level at coloring, but just trying to allow the hobby of coloring to be my Zen place. Just to bring me down, I'm looking for the joy of it as opposed to the pursuit of trying to next level my coloring. And I think for me, that has kind of changed my focus on what I do and how I choose to do it. So again, this is a whip in progress in this more detailed book that even with my, if you want to call it obsession or my focus on the Cozy Cutie books, I haven't lost my desire for books like this. It's just how I pursue books like this in the future will be different. And I'll share some of that with you over the coming videos. Another thing, while discovering the Cozy Cutie books, that I discovered during my hiatus was color by number. I had never done a color by number. I didn't own one book that was color by number. Not one. But on one of your channels, on someone's channel, I saw this book, and I love animals. And they flipped through it, and I noticed it was Jade Summer, but I liked the images. And I think the person, I have a straw here, so slurping at a minimum, okay? You're welcome. And I saw this book, and I really liked what I saw. And I said, I'm going to get this one color by number book. I just really like the images. But I didn't know that color by number was going to be something that I would pursue. But lo and behold, I really liked it. It provided me what I was looking for. At this point in time in my coloring journey, I'm just looking for the zen of it, the joy of it, not the artistic higher end blending better and doing this and getting proficient and acquiring expertise with anything. I just want the joy of coloring. And this gave me that joy. I really like the way the picture came out. I do have one I don't like the way the picture came out. Maybe it's my choice of colors. Is that a pig? I don't even know what that is. I honestly don't. It is Tombow with a little bit of shading on it. I don't even know what it is. But the colors freak me out. I put the eyelashes on there because I did. And the bird is okay. I'm not super Let's see if I can bring it out just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit too much of me. I have relocated my space. I'll get into that shortly. But anyway, I did this bird. And I'm relearning alcohol markers. Alcohol markers is one of the first materials that I bought when I entered adult coloring. And I'm going to share some things with you. I have so much to say, and I'm trying not to let this video go hog wild here. Oh, this is one that I'm working on. So, this is one book, has one color, unique color chart. And I have paired it with 3 different mediums. My Ohuhu markers, my Ohuhu dupes, alcohol markers, as well as my pro markers. My preferred marker set are my Winsor and Newton / Letraset pro markers. I absolutely love those markers. There is something about that ink that is so different than everybody else's ink. I can't tell you what it is, but pro markers and their ink are that good. So I'm doing this page with pro markers. So I discovered during my hiatus the Cozy and Cutie books, those square books. Really enjoyed coloring those. Really did, and started collecting them. And this one book introduced me to color by number and how much relaxation, joy, how much zen I could get from a book like this. Never had one before. After all these years, I've never had a single one. This was my first. Then I discovered these books. The ones from Lorica, the French color by number Disney books. Again, I had just discovered how much I like color by number. These are next level color by number. And I'm not the biggest Disney person you'll ever meet. I like Disney, but I really love Disney art. The iconography. Just the cartoony style of what Disney produces. I like that. I also like Monsters, Inc. and a few other Disney movies, don't get me wrong. Oh, is that Pixar? That might be Pixar. But I think Disney owns them, or who knows. I don't know. But I like those movies. But I discovered these books on a few channels, and I decided to get myself one book so I could try it. Well, boy oh boy. This reinforces how much I like this color by number genre. And I have done a number of pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pages in this book. And I've only had the book, I don't know, a few weeks. But none of them are great. Don't get your hopes up when I show you the pictures and pages that I've done. They don't give you a test page, so I had to use this one. But none of the pages that I've done are anything to write home about. Okay? But I've tried. I'm discovering what I can do, how I can do it, whether or not I want to prep the pages before I color them in. That sort of thing. I'm learning what I can from the other channels. That's Mulan. I'm discovering how to use the acrylic markers. Where the limits and boundaries are in using them through this book. I'm trying to find different ways of finding and matching my colors. I don't know if I'm going to find all 11 pages. I should have just marked them before I even turned on the video, but I didn't. This one, I really don't like. There is something about this particular page that I feel like it's a fail. And I have it marked with this little flag here because to me, until I figure out what to do about it, it's a whip. I need to go back and do something with this page. I'm not crazy about it. It's acrylic markers for the most part. And I'm terrible at outlining. Ugh. My hands may not need the wrist supports, but I tell you. I'm using that as my excuse. That and my bad eyes. I think this is the next page I'm going to do. That's why that one's marked. Oh, okay. Let me see here. Okay, so I did mini. This was clear gesso, alcohol ink, and acrylic marker and pencil. I went all out and did this one mixed media. As you can see, even though I used the alcohol ink, it did not bleed through. That's because I have clear gesso underneath. But the alcohol ink acts funny over gesso. So it was a lot of work to finish this page, but I finally got through it all, and I finished my mini page. And this was the last one that I just finished, Donald. And this was just straight up water-based markers and acrylic markers. I did the acrylic markers on the orange and yellow, and on his beak and his feet. And where else did I do it? I think that's it. I think everything else is water-based markers. Tombow and Faber-Castell Aqua Dual markers. No prep on this page whatsoever. So you can see the streaking. By bringing up closer, you can see the streaking in the water-based markers. I did some pencil shading, but not a whole lot. It is what it is. This is just the way this media works. And I'm okay with it. I'm happy with the page. It came out the way it comes out. And it took me a minute to get to that point. Let me see if I have any in here. I don't think so. Okay. And I did, I forget who this is. But this was done with clear gesso and Tombow markers. And I did finish this page with a light coat of varnish as well. And I put I did the outlining to make it look more like stained glass. I'm not super crazy about it. I just didn't do a very good job. But overall, I'm very much a beginner at this, so I'm learning as I go. So I'll accept it as a job as well done as I could get it. You know, may not be great, but then I did this one, and this is a fixative. I didn't put down which fixative. Maybe it was sprayed fixative over water-based markers. Again, the results were not to my liking. There's some gel, some Languio gel pens around the outside of this. It's okay. Lesson learned. The boundaries of using these materials on this paper, I've discovered what those are. I did my best job on this. Tried to, have a page that didn't make me want to gag. And that's the page that I did here. And then I did, this is one of my favorite pages, Mickey Mouse. Alcohol and acrylic markers and pencil. I used on this, and I think I varnished it with a quick spray of matte varnish. I enjoyed this page. I tried to be as neat as I could be. The clear gesso and the alcohol markers, again, prevented any bleed through. So everything was fine there. But again, it works funny over gesso. But I thought, I just would have to pay attention and try to learn as I go. As to whether or not I'll ever do it again, I don't know. It was pretty tough. But I did Mickey. And I did Dumbo. And Dumbo, I don't have anything written down in the margins on this one. This was acrylic. Yeah, this was acrylic. I should write that on here. Let me just write this on here. Okay, that was acrylic markers I did on this page. This was fun. Again, I'm trying to learn to be neat with my coloring. My hands sometimes fail me. If my hands are failing me, my eyes are. So I'm trying to get more light on the situation, get as much light as I can. But this is that page, and I'm happy with this, the way that turned out. And I think I have the very first, where is the very first one I did? I thought it was in the 90s or the 80s. Oh, page 83. I don't think I showed you page 83. This was the very first one I did in early August. I did this page, just trying to be neat. I think it was all acrylic marker. Maybe some water-based. There's no There's no prep or anything on the page, but anyway, this is the page, the very first page that I did. So, and I really enjoyed the exercise that is this book. Again, I can't tell you all the characters in these books because I know them so well. I just like the art of Disney, and this is what this book gives me. So that was the very, very first Disney color mystery book I acquired. The very first one. I've done 11 pages in it, so I'm learning. I'm learning how to do these pictures better. It is also the very first book type, after all these years of coloring, that I'm actually collecting. I have a dozen of these books now. I think it's a dozen. Might be a little bit more. Maybe 14. Let's see, 13, 14, so to speak. And this is another one of the books that I got, not the second one. This is the first one, but this is like in the last batch of books that I bought. So, and I've done one picture in here that I can share. I love Scooby. I mean, who doesn't love Scooby? I just love Scooby. Scooby's adorable. And this was acrylic marker and maybe water-based combination. And this is kind of a new format they have in these books where you can actually pick your colors on the preceding page. And I did this one. I think I've only done the... Oh no, I did another page in here that was an absolute wreck. This page is a wreck. And it's marked with WHIP on it because I have got to go back to see if I can figure out how to do this page better. I use some pan pastel in the background. It works, but I am not happy with that page. But anywho, so that's what I've been working on and learning. So much has happened over the many months that I haven't been with you. Like I said, taking care of some chronic health issues of my own, not just my wrists and my arthritis and tendonitis, but I had some other issues with my legs that I've been having to deal with. And in March of this year, after 30 years of being her caregiver, I lost my mother. And that has put me back many more months dealing with the grief of that and dealing with all of the things that you have to do when you lose a loved one. And I'm still going through her things. I've relocated myself. I used to live in another part of the house where I had much less space. I've now relocated to what used to be her part of the house. So moving her things out and trying to move my things in over time, that'll happen. But setting up a place for me to do my art amidst all of the stuff that I have to do, and I work full time. And I have a very demanding job. So factor all that in, and there was just no time to enjoy myself or to do these videos, but thankfully that is changing, and I'm trying to make time to enjoy my hobby again and to make this content for everyone again. I have some things to share and to show. One of the things that I'm going to show on this video before I get back into this, and I'm going to keep this video somewhat short, is I told you that my alcohol markers of choice, my go-to set, are my Pro markers. I bought these markers back in 2016, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. They're old. They were Letraset at the time. And this is my marker set of Pro markers. Even though these markers have a lot of age on them, because it was the first marker set I ever bought, I love these markers. I really like Pro markers. They don't have they do have a line that has the brush tip. Not a fan. I am not a fan of the brush tip. I prefer their fine tip with chisels, and that's what all these are. But I really love the colors. There's something about that is special with Pro Marker ink. If you've never had a Pro Marker or have worked with them, maybe you just don't understand it, but they're different. To me, they're very, very different. So I have kept my original set, my full set of Pro markers, alive all these years, replacing the ones that go dry either on eBay or buying different sets to get that one marker that I need. But I really love these markers. They're still in business under the Winsor Newton brand. If I pull one of them out, see, mine are really old. Mine are still Letraset. And there's a special feature about these markers that you just don't see with other marker brands, and it's in this little drawer here. And that is this. And you say, what? It's a different top. No, it's a different nib, actually. And of course, I just dropped it on the floor. Let me pick it up. It's a special nib. What these markers, this original brand, the Letraset, the Winsor Newton new models, can't use this nib. But I have a way of making it work. But if you took the cap off the original marker, you have that fine nib, then I can put this on. And it snaps on, right? When I take the second cap off, I have an ultra fine tip nib. You just have to give it a few seconds for the color to wick through. And then I have an ultra fine tip alcohol marker. I don't know that there's any marker set that has that attachment. Now, Winsor Newton changed the look and feel. Let's see. This is a Winsor Newton. And even though the markers look alike, they're not. Those tips don't fit on the Winsor Newton markers. They only fit on the Letraset markers. That's my air compressor going off. So I had to figure out how to make my Letraset markers refillable using the new breed of markers. And I figured it out. And I've already done it. So the color is sandstone. Here it is. This Letraset marker. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I kept it in here. Oh, here it is. This is the old Letraset marker. This is the brand new Winsor Newton marker. They're both sandstone. I put the center core of this marker inside this old version of the marker because this marker was drying out and I needed to replace it. So I bought this one. But I didn't want to use this one if I still had this outer shell because of those ultra fine tip nibs fitting on these but not these. So this is a Letraset marker with the inside of it with the Pro marker, brand new, fully refreshed, new nib. I was able to deconstruct this marker and take the guts and everything out of here and put it in here. So I just kept that for a talking point. But this is the old Letraset with the brand new, refilled with the brand new inner core, that wicking color core. Yeah. So they're not officially refillable, but you can refill them. So, and I was just desperate to figure out a way to keep my old Letraset markers and just replace them as I want to. But I have so many of those nibs, and Winsor Newton no longer makes these nibs. They no longer make them. But I have acquired them over time, so I still have access to them. And I really like them, and yes, I use them in those intricate little details when I'm working on an alcohol page. I rely on those with this set. So I wanted to keep this set in play. And ever since I bought that case back in 2019, those Letraset markers have been in that case. And I know where all the markers are, so I don't want to put a bamboo shelf and all that in there. But yeah, so I am going to be working on this. we're coming up to about 40 minutes, and that's about as long as I wanted this video to be. I will tell you that I am using Tombow, Ohuhu, and Faber-Castell water-based markers on this page. But this page is prepped. And I have prepped this page with workable fixative. That allows, because the Faber-Castell Aqua Dual markers will bleed through the paper. Blending on the paper is very hard with water-based markers. So for years, I've used workable fixative, and using it as a prep base, I started maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So I basically had to go back to that old bag of tricks to find a way to work on books like this that are very intricate, very, a lot of detail as compared to the Cozy Cutie books, but work with them at a pace and in a style that I enjoy without being taking days and days and hours upon hours working on these very busy pages. What you're seeing here is about an hour, maybe an hour and a half worth of work. And I will come back and do some pencil shading and some refinement and stuff with pencils when I'm done. But I'm trying to get out of adult coloring something different. I'm trying simply to color in a way that I find joyful, as opposed to trying to up my game artistically. That was my original pursuit. It no longer is. I just want the creature comforts of adult coloring, as opposed to going through that more artistic stepping ladder of getting better and better and better. I'm just not looking for that anymore. So having the prep on the page allows me to work more enjoyably on pages like this, and I will continue working on this, and I'll share it with you on the next video. But I just wanted to come back to the channel. I will continue to let you know what I've been working on and share some things with you as I continue on this coloring journey. Thank you for going on the journey with me. I'm just so pleased that so many of you have hung in there, waited for me to come back. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be back, and I will be back with another video as soon as I can. Until then, everyone, shine on. Thank you.